All right, guys, so we have a special guest coming on today. I'm excited for you guys to hear from him. But before we do that, I want to take you guys through a few things. I wrote some notes down on things that we as an agency can work on and things that many of us can get better at. So that way, each of you and each of us are making more money. Because at the end of the day, we're here for a reason. Everyone's got a why. Everyone's trying to accomplish something. And that's really what this is all about, is helping you guys accomplish what you're looking to accomplish today. We're going to try to make this call quick and effective. So first off, when we look at month over month, we looked at the last 3 months, okay? And the last 3 months, out of everybody in our organization, we had 7 people that have consistently written at least $20,000 a month or more, okay? 7 people out of over 70 people. That means 10% of the folks have written 20,000 or more per month and have been consistent. So I reached out to these people and I said, all right, what are the few things that you guys are doing to achieve this level of success, right? Because here's the thing, guys, this is a plug and play business. This is a copycat business, right? There's no brand new ideas that are coming out that are changing the game, right? It's literally copy and paste, right? So what are these guys doing? If you guys have a pen and paper, be ready to write down the formula. This is the formula for success. If you're not writing this down, you're not setting yourself up to win. This is exactly what these people are doing, okay? I'm going to lay it out for you. If you're wondering why you're not hitting 20,000 or more a month, you're not doing one or more of these things. I promise you, because what I'm about to share with you guys is the exact same thing that I'm doing, okay? All right, so number one, first off, all of these people, before I get into the actual formula, they all have consistency. They're all consistent and they're all disciplined in their business, okay? So they're all consistent and disciplined. So if you lack consistency and discipline in your schedule, in your routine, in what you do, this is going to be difficult. You're going to have to change some things. You're going to have to sacrifice some time. You're going to have to look at where you're spending your time. Where do you have white space? Where are you spending time that could be better allocated in this business to achieve the level of success that each of you want? All right, so let's get into these things. All right, so the first thing is that obviously, as you guys know, our business is a leads-based business. So I asked them, all right, how much are you guys spending in leads and what are you doing from a leads perspective? So number one, every one of these people that are consistently writing over 20,000 per month they all have new leads every single dial day. So every single dial day, every Monday and Thursday, they have a new batch of leads to dial. And on average, they're investing about $1,800 to $2,500 a week in leads, okay? $1,800 to $2,500 a week in leads. Now, some of you guys might be thinking, well, Julius, I can't do that right now. That's okay. I understand. Right? Not everyone can be there right this moment, but your number one goal, if you're not there, is to take your commissions and continue to reinvest and up your budget every single week. I wasn't there when I started, you guys. I didn't have that type of luxury to invest that type of money, but I built myself up to that. I made sales, I reinvested my commission, and I put more and more into the business until I realized that the more I put into the business, the more I got out, and then I was left over with more, which just allowed me to be more profitable. So if you're not there yet, that's okay, but you have to make that a goal. Okay, so if there's some of you on this team right now that you're hovering right around 10, 15, 16,000 every month consistently. And if you're not spending that amount of money on leads, that's a direct correlation of why you're not achieving the success that you want, or the numbers you want, or the profit you want. Okay, so lead purchases, make sure you have new leads every single dial day, and you're spending between $1,800 and $2,500 per week. That's what the top people on our team. I'm talking about the Riads, the Tabithas, the Clays, the Ericas, right? The top people that are consistent on our team, the Nate Fudalas, right? This is what they're doing, right? I'm giving you their formula. That's number one. Number two, now we got to talk about dialing, right? So what are they doing on a dial day? So every Monday and every Thursday, they're spending 10 to 12 hours each dial day, okay? 10 to 12 hours. So if you're only blocking out 4 to 5 hours on a dial day, that's probably why you don't have enough appointments, okay? So 10 to 12 hours every dial day, right? And what's their goal? Their goal is to set 25 to 30 appointments every week, okay? You guys have probably heard this before, but I want to reaffirm this because, guys, this is what's working on our team, not just around the company, which, obviously it's the same thing, but on our team, it's no different. So 25 to 30 appointments a week. And on your dial days, you need to block out 10 to 12 hours or until the job is done. Sometimes it might be done in 5, 6, 7 hours. Sometimes it might take you all day. But is it worth it? Are you willing to pay the price to give up a Monday and a Thursday to make 20, 30, 40,000 a month? If the answer is yes, then just do it, right? Just do it, okay? The next thing that they said was, outside of dialing 10 to 12 hours and setting 25 to 30 appointments, the only other thing that they all have in common, guys, is they're constantly plugged into every call and they're listening to trainings in between their appointments or in other free time so they can improve their skill sets. They're always learning. They're always being a student of their business. They're finding ways to improve their skill sets. So if you are, if you're anywhere below 20,000 and you have aspirations to get to 20, 30, 40,000, whatever that magic number is for you, this is the recipe, okay? If you're lacking in any one of these elements or aspects, it will directly impact your business. I promise you. I promise you guys, I've been here for 2.5 years. This is what I do, okay? This is what we do. Right. And so, this is what every top producer does in this company and on our team. And so if you're new to this might be your first call. Maybe you're just getting started. You just got contracting. Maybe you're, your first week out. Maybe you've been here for a while. Guys, wherever you are in this business, it doesn't matter. Guess what? We can all change and we can all do it right here, right now. Now you might be thinking, okay, well, if I have 2,000 in leads, or I have 2,000 to invest in leads, where do I invest them? Go on the CRM, go use the different lead vendors, right? Just find leads to get. You have to become resourceful in this business. That's the number one key. Be resourceful, go on the training pages, use the different lead vendors, mix up your leads, but you have to invest this money. And I promise you, it will pay itself forward and it will net you a profit, okay? So that's the formula. I'm gonna repeat it real quick in case you missed it. The first one is lead spend. The average top producer on our team that makes at least 20,000 per month consistently spends 1,800 to 2,500 per week in leads. Number two, they spend 10 to 12 hours a day on their dial days, and they're booking at least 25 to 30 appointments over the course of the week. And then outside of that, they're listening to podcasts and they're on every call to sharpen their skill sets. And the very last thing that I almost forgot to mention is they're working every Friday and Saturday. They're working the weekends. If you're not working the weekends, you are leaving a ton of money on the table. The weekends is probably the most golden thing out of all that because people are home, people are happy, they're in good moods. And that's, I can't believe I almost missed that. So Riyadh, thank you for dropping me that nugget. But running the weekends is huge. And I want to talk about consistency and discipline. There's someone on our team that I want to give a quick shout out to, and that's Boris. So last week he had his record week, and it's a direct correlation of him following this specific system and having discipline and consistency in his schedule and sacrificing what he was doing before. So he sacrificed what he was doing before, went to work, went into the office, dialed his face off on Monday and Thursday, booked up a bunch of appointments, and had his record week of $13,000 submitted. And why is that? Because he put in the work, right? He put in the work and now he's getting the result, right? So anyone on here can do that. Any one of you can do that, guys. And so another person that I'd like to quickly shout out is Darla. She's been doing the same thing. She's crushing it, right? Why? Because she's booking more appointments. She's buying more leads. She's running the weekends, right? She put a note on here. 50% of her business was Friday and Saturday. I think she wrote almost 10 grand on the weekend. She's killing it, right? And any one of you guys can do that. Any single one of you, okay? Now, before I get Jamie on here, I want to leave you with one last thing. One last thing before we get Jamie on. I want you guys to consider this. Family First Life is the largest insurance sales organization in the country. Let me repeat that to you. Family First Life is the largest sales organization in the country. And when I say we're the largest, I'm not talking in terms of people. I'm talking about in terms of performance and production. So if we have the best production out of any sales organization out there, that means our people are making the most money. This is the best place to be, you guys. We are the largest company in insurance sales in the industry. If you guys are looking to build an agency, this is the best place to do it. If you just want to be a producer, you can make more money than you've ever dreamed of working here. And so with that said, I want to bring on our special guest today, my man, Jamie Chirio. This guy has been a staple in Family First Life America's growth over the last year. He's consistently a 30, 40K producer. His team is absolutely exploding. And, you know, just a pleasure to have him on. He started out in this business as Grady's digital marketer, right? And so he started out marketing, helping our company, helping our agency kind of get better, really. And then said, what am I doing marketing? And then decided to actually get in the field and join the team. And ever since, he's been crushing it. So let me welcome Jamie Chirio to the call.
What's up, guys? How we doing?
Doing good, man. How are you?
Good, man. 3 or so weeks out from a new baby, so I'm just running as hard as possible until we get there.
I love it, brother. Congratulations. Are you having a boy or girl? Remind me.
Little boy, Nehemiah James.
Nehemiah James. That's an awesome name, brother. Congrats on that. It's going to be amazing. I'm sure you're going to be a great father.
I appreciate that.
Awesome, man. Well, listen, hey, you know, maybe I think most people on here don't know much about you, Jamie. So if you can get on, start with a little bit about you, kind of how you got into this. I know I kind of teased a little bit there, but talk to us a little bit about that, and then let it rip. What's helped you become successful? What's allowing you to produce at a high level? What are you doing to stay consistent? Because I think one of the things when I look around our organization is we have people that have a big month, then the next month they fall down or take a step back, then they maybe bounce back up, or they're just not where they want to be. So what's helping you be successful? What's helping you be consistent? And then, you know, maybe jump into what's helping your organization and the agents on your team find the same level of success, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Okay, got it. And if I come to any weird stopping points, if you can just kind of continue me on and remind me of what I should talk about next, okay?
You got it, brother.
Cool. So I won't dig too deep into my story because I really want to focus the majority of this call on some things that you guys can actually go ahead and apply. But I'm 27. I live out in Oregon with my wife. Like I said, baby on the way, dog, 2 cats, live on a farm, middle of nowhere. I drive probably 200 to 300 miles every single run day. So if it comes down to running in your backyard and not having leads, or going to somewhere that's an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours away on a run day, and that's what it takes, it's possible. Okay. So I want to just start out and premise everything with that I'm not just somebody who is in a place where we're just abundant of leads everywhere. I definitely have to go and get to my leads and go service the people that are looking for this. So my background is I got started as an entrepreneur when I was like 18 years old. I got into the direct sales and network marketing world. My only experience working in the world was working at Taco Bell before that. So not much job experience and just serving tacos to drunk people. And then got into the entrepreneur world as a network marketer, which I thought was entrepreneurship, since realized it was just, glorified sales and a lot of recruiting. And that's where I met Grady Polson. And Grady was a huge mentor of mine. We were very lucky at a young age to build up a huge sales organization, probably 10,000 agents on our team at that company. And then overnight, that company decided to change policy within the industry, the FTC decided to change policy within that industry, and our company got shut down. So overnight, I went from making six figures at 21 years old, driving around in a cool BMW, to six-figure income gone overnight, BMW repossessed, and spent quite a few years trying to get back to that original level of success, and just was not able to find it. And ultimately found myself in the digital marketing world, and that's what I did most recently before I got into Family First Life. I had a digital marketing agency, and I was a lead vendor. Basically, I was helping generate leads for roofing and solar companies, and the roofing and solar agents were going out and they were knocking on those doors and having appointments, very similar to what we do, but I was on the Facebook lead vendor side. And ultimately, a handful of things happened, built up a successful business, dealt with a heavy level of embezzlement and fraud from one of my partners, and we decided to shut that business down right at the beginning of COVID. Simultaneously, my wife, who is a teacher, gets laid off from her job, and at the same time, we decided we're going to start a family. So I needed to make this work. And before I got in as an agent, I did work on the marketing side for Grady. I had a guaranteed income, but as soon as my wife lost her guaranteed income, it wasn't enough anymore. And I just looked at everybody and I said, there's no way that this many people are finding success and I can't do it too. So the only difference between me and them, I saw Julius, I saw Clay, I saw Nina, I saw Ashley, Alex, Jordan, all these people finding major success. And the only difference between me and them is they really only had like a year or two under their belt. They weren't some crazy experts who had been in the industry for 10, 20 years. They were people who started just like me with absolutely no insurance experience whatsoever. But what they decided to do is they set a target, they set a goal, and they said, I'm going to do whatever it takes to learn this skill. And Grady has really ingrained this in me from the beginning. He goes, you guys are learning a skill that if you take the time to master, you can make money at will. He said, you can print money. And like that sounded like a crazy concept to me when I first started. But just the idea of learning how to sell insurance, it's such a powerful thing. Learning how to sell insurance with leads is even more powerful. You can learn how to sell insurance, but you eventually run out of friends and family, and doing the whole cold marketing thing, that's not going to work forever. You're going to get burnt out. But I know that I can buy leads every single week and it's predictable and I can make money at will. So just that concept right there, that blew my mind. And then when somebody said, hey, well, if you just get really good at selling insurance, you can inspire other people and teach them how to sell insurance. And when you teach them how to sell insurance, just for you helping them, you can earn an override and you can create a passive income. And that concept blew my mind too. And then I started to learn about how deep this thing can go and how you can create a serious passive income that can pass on for generations, to your kids' kids and their kids. And that blew my mind. And then I learned about, integrity. And that's the light at the end of the tunnel. Now, every single person on this call, you probably have different levels of ambition. Myself and Julius and a handful of others, we're trying to go all the way. Some of you guys would be very happy, just getting to a high six-figure income and, producing that consistently. Others, you want a little bit more passive. You're going to build an agency, 10, 20, 30 agents, and you're going to make a good living. And other people, they're going to go all in and they're going to do whatever it takes to learn this business, because in learning this business, they're not just learning to make money at will. They're teaching other people the skill set of making money at will, and they're teaching other people how to become free. To give you all some perspective, in 2015, I lost my six-figure income. In 2017, my car was repossessed and I had to file bankruptcy. I had less than no money. I had negative money. If it was free, I couldn't afford it because I had negative money. So just understand that at that point, then I was willing to accept, $500 a week, $1,000 a week, hustling my way to make $2,000 to build this website, or $500 when I paid out all partners for a little bit of profit when I did this project. And I did that for years. And then I found Family First Life and I said, that looks like a lot of work. I don't know if I still have that amount of work in me. And I see a lot of my friends, they've looked at me over the last, year, and they said, Jamie, like what you're doing, that is a lot of work. I don't know if I could do that. And I'm like, listen, I was in the exact same position as you guys. I was in a position where I pretty much worked from my laptop every single day. Julius joked around with me before. I pretty much was the guy who was in my boxers on the bottom and like a suit on top doing Zoom calls. And that was my life for a long time. And I didn't think I honestly had it in me to work this hard. And I also thought that going out and meeting with families was beneath me. I thought that I compared it to door-to-door sales, vacuum cleaner sales, all those different things. And then I actually realized what this business was, that it was a real business, a business where I could create true passive income, a business where I could create a real business that wasn't going to go anywhere, that was in one of the most stable industries that's ever existed. And I just decided to go all in. And once I realized that, my belief level was through the roof. Okay. So of course, I didn't even know this industry existed. So I think that having the right, proper belief, belief in this industry, belief in this company, belief in yourself. If y'all don't have belief in yourself, or you can't at least lean on the belief that we have in you when we hired you, then you're not going to make it in this business. Okay. After you have that belief that you at least are going to do what's necessary, then belief in this company. I mean, listen to Sean Mike for like 5 seconds. You think this guy believes in this company? He absolutely does. So if you can't believe in Sean, okay, and where he's going to take this company, that's important. Having belief in this company. Julius said it, we're the fastest growing IMO in the entire space. And belief in this industry. There's been more millionaires created in the financial services industry than any other industry in the world. So just raising your belief, I think, is super, super important. So my belief is high. And that was one of the main reasons that I was willing to walk over broken glass, willing to literally do whatever it takes, go uphill both ways in a snowstorm to learn this skill set. And obviously it's changed my life. I mean, July 7th, so yesterday was my 1 year in Family First Life, and personally paid $425,000 in the last 365 days, and I had zero insurance experience before this. So I'll start there, Julius.
You're a stud, man. Well, thank you for sharing that. I didn't know that stuff. That's wild. Well, talk to us a little bit about now, obviously over the last year, you've learned the skill set, right? So talk to us a little bit about the skill set that you've learned. Kind of break it down for everybody on the call. Like what is it that helped you, and then what's helping your agents grow fast? Because you got a bunch of studs coming on your team that are selling really quickly. So share with us what's helped you and now what's helping them.
Yeah, I mean, the obvious things are, there's buy leads, dial the phone, go and actually just sit down in the homes. If you follow the numbers, you guys hear it over and over again, and you hear it so many times that it almost doesn't sound real. When we went to convention and there was the Hall of Fame panel, every single person on stage said, I buy $2,000 a week in leads, I dial the phone for 10 hours a day, and I sit with 30 appointments a week. And you hear that over and over again, and you just think, there's no way it's that simple. There's no way. It's like, what are the secrets? What am I missing? And I think that that's something that so many people fall into, is they try to figure out what are the secrets. But you have to understand that if you want to become a master at this business, you have to master the basics. That's all it is. You have to master the basics. And I decided I was going to master the basics. And I'm by no means a master. The only difference between me and somebody else in this call who's maybe issued less than me is not that I'm better than you. It's just, I bet you I've done more reps than you. That's the only difference. There's some kung fu fighter, Jet Li or something, one of those guys, Bruce Lee, he had a quote that was like, I failed more times than you've even tried, something along those lines. And I think that's important to understand. 354 clients, and actually, no, 357. I signed 3 up today. So 357, I was 354 yesterday. I keep a count of that because it's important to me to know how many families that I've helped. But think about how many appointments I had to sit in to get that. My average closing rate is not 100%. I probably book, if I were to book 10 appointments, I'd sit with 7 and I'd probably close 4. Okay. So if I book 30, I probably sit with 20 and sell like 12 or 14. Okay. So I'm probably like a 50 to 60% closer. Now, if I book that many appointments, how many dials do you think I have to do? So I wanted to show you guys this because I'm also meticulous at tracking my dials. So this is every dial tracker since I've started Family First Life. So every single one of them has a minimum of 250 dials on it. Some of them 500 to 1,000 dials. So if I multiply 2 dial days a week over 52 weeks, that's 104 dial days. And yeah, I probably missed 1 or 2 dial days because I'm human and I had family stuff come up, whatever it is. I'm not perfect. But that means that I've probably done tens and tens and tens of thousands of dials that have yielded thousands of appointments that led me to almost 400 clients.
So let's talk about that real quick. So were you good on the phones when you started?
No, I was horrible.
You were horrible. All right. So how did you get good on the phones?
Repetition.
Okay.
Repetition. And I think that one of the most important things, and I bring it back to live dials, because that's when I really started to get good on the phones. Because when I first started, I think I had a little bit of beginner's luck. I started, and we talk about how a brand new person, they should book 16 appointments, when they're sitting down for a dial day. I look back at my first dial tracker and I booked seven for my next 2 days. And I look at my next one and I booked 8. So I was probably just like most of y'all, running 15 to 20 appointments a week when I first started. If I got to 10 appointments, I was so happy. It's like I did my job. There's only 10 boxes on the dial tracker. So if I fill in all 10 boxes, I did it. But then I realized, and the other thing is when you're brand new, it takes you 90 minutes to 2 hours to get through an appointment because you're still figuring out the Americo app and how to do underwriting and all this stuff. Now it gets to a point where I can go hit an instant internet lead and write them up an Americo policy in 35 minutes and be out of the house. I can run 10 appointments in a day. But I didn't do that when I first started. So my confidence went up, which allowed me to book more appointments, but I wasn't able to book, 16, 20 appointments right off the bat. I was lucky if I booked 7 or 8. Now, when I first started, I was dialing alone. We didn't even have dial team. So you have to understand that I was dialing and I was booking appointments, but I was also training myself in bad habits because no one was watching me and no one was coaching me. So I was like, okay, I'm doing pretty good because I'm booking 10 appointments. But then we get to the point where we start live dial team and Grady goes, I want you to unmute. And Grady was on there and he was the one providing live coaching to me. So it was Grady providing live coaching. And then like Genevieve and a handful of others were there coaching me. And there was little tweaks that they made. And I don't know who said it. It might've been Paul McLean on one of these calls the other day. He said, if you have a dog and the dog is, I don't want to compare us to dogs, but if you have a dog who pees on the floor, are you best to discipline them 6 hours later when you get home from work and rub their face in it? Or if you catch them in the act and you say, no, bad, you catch a dog in the act. Think about how that would work with our human minds if you're on live dials. And I'm brand new. I hit up Julius 3 weeks later after failing on dial team, only booking 4 appointments a day. And I said, Julius, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Every piece of coaching that Julius is going to offer me is going to be 100% theory based on what he knows works, nothing to do with what he's actually heard me say on the phone. And none of that coaching can even be applied to what I'm doing because it might just be that one little tweak. I get on and, I hear monotone, but when I first started, my monotone was like half dead. It wasn't like uninterested, pissed off, annoyed, and stern. It was like, you guys ever watch Monsters Inc? That lady who's behind the counter, who is like real monotone. That's like what I sounded like on the phone when I first started. But then Grady said, he made a tweet. He goes, dude, you don't sound half dead. He's like, you can sound monotone without sounding half dead. And it was a little bit harsh, but then it was a tweak that I made. And then it was, hey, Julius, to Julius. And then it was, Jamie, you're not asking a question to pivot back in. You're saying, okay, I could probably be over there around 5 o'clock. Not saying anything. They say, I didn't fill it out. Are you sure you didn't fill it out? Just little things, and I got these tweaks that were live that helped me right there on the spot to get better. And then I also decided I was going to attend every single live dial team from that point forward. And I was going to dial live every single live dials. So since live dials has started, and I've been on and participating. So today I was in the field, so I wasn't on live dials. So a couple of days I wasn't on. But I've decided to participate and dial live every single time. And what that's personally done for me is that when I was by myself and no one was listening, and it's been 8 hours of dialing and I've got 6 appointments on the books, and I call that lead and they say, I didn't fill it out. And I just say, okay, have a good day. And I hang up. I put my tail between my legs. Nobody saw me put my tail between my legs. I'm tired. It's been an 8-hour dial day. And I'm looking for the easy layups. I'm looking for the ones that I can just book really easy because I've been dialing all day long. So I'm just hitting the dial button over and over and over again, hoping for an easy one. But when I'm on live dials, everybody's listening. Everybody's watching. So then I end up going for ones that I wouldn't normally go for when I'm by myself. So I don't want to say it was like I was performing, but it started to become fun when I was on live dials because the person would say, I don't remember filling that out. And I'd say, yeah, I don't even remember what I ate for breakfast. Anyways, I got your date of birth here as, 5/6/93. You just start having fun with it. I also started to try to keep people on the phone longer than I would normally keep them on the phone and do whatever it took to interrupt their pattern and pivot back into the script with a question. And I didn't learn that stuff unless I would have just done it over and over and over again. So live dials has changed everything. And then, of course, by me participating in live dials, my team has naturally participated in live dials. And I've shared with them my testimony and how I was also terrified to get on a dial live, and how by dialing live, I started to book the ones that I wouldn't have booked in the past when I was dialing by myself, because other people were listening, other people were watching. And I found some people, they go, well, Jamie, like, what kind of leads do you run? Like, are you just running mortgage because you're writing so much premium? Yes, I do run mortgage, but it's not as much mortgage as some people think. Some people think I run, like, my team even thought I run like 80-90% mortgage. They're like, dude, you booked like 12, 13 appointments before noon. You must have been running mortgage. And that particular day I was running mortgage. And I go, okay, guys, I'm going to put my mortgage leads on hold and I'm just going to run instant internet leads. And then I booked 16 appointments before noon on instant internet leads. And it was the posture on the phone. And I started to book appointments and getting confident booking the ones that most people wouldn't book because they give up and they put their tail between their legs, instead of staying on the phone, whatever it takes until that person hangs up, continuing to pivot back in with a question, retake control, pivot with a question, take control, until I booked the appointment or they hung up on me. I started swinging for the fences on every single phone call that I did. I didn't put my tail between my legs. I didn't go down looking. I swung every single time on every single dial, and I started booking the ones that are typically hard to book, and that's where I found the buyers with the big premium. The hardest ones to book, especially with internet leads, are generally the buyers, because the hardest ones to book are generally the people who are just pissed off that they've gotten so many phone calls because they filled out multiple forms online that they're just sick of the process. And when I was able to cut through the BS and be the one who gets in the door, I'm the only one who got in that door because every other person put their tail between their legs. So I started finding big premium off of internet leads because I decided to just swing for the fences on every single dial.
Awesome, man. So dial team has been huge for you personally. Your team is obviously following suit. What would you say, like, we have some top producers on this team that are, that don't get on the dial team very often, or even people that aren't top producers that don't get on the dial team. What would you say to them? If this is your team and you have people that aren't getting on the dial team, what would you say to them? Talk to them like they're your team.
I mean, you're hurting yourself at the end of the day. You truly are hurting yourself. Hearing what's working. Every single day, there are top producers. And you might hear that one little thing that they do and you go, wow, that was smooth. Let me try that. Or you hear somebody else's script and you go, wow, that script is just a little bit more efficient than mine. Let me try something. Now, here's the thing. If you're booking appointments, okay, if you're having no problem booking appointments, do not be the person who just changes your script over and over again. We've got some people on our team. One guy, Mike Curry, a lot of you guys know him. Mike Curry has changed his script more times than I can count, okay? And every time that he's done it, he's struggled, okay? A couple of times, though, he found a good script, and he stuck with it, and then he starts booking 16, 20 appointments a day. So if you're the person who hangs up or who changes your script every single time something's going wrong, you're going to struggle. Find a script that works, stick with it, and just understand that it's repetition. When I'm dialing, I sit there and I try not to be distracted. It's just, hey, I just tell myself, dial hard, dial fast, dial hard, dial fast, over and over and over again. When I'm hand dialing, especially my hand dial leads, and I've got phone burner now where I can just keep it going without even having to think about it.
Awesome, man. All right. What, so obviously we understand dialing is a big part of this business. I think you kind of beat that one down. What else would you tell, like, what are some other things that are working for your team or that have worked for you outside of just booking appointments? But what are some things and tips that you would give to the team to help them go out? Obviously we're in the field tomorrow, that can help, maybe give them 2-3 pointers that can help them help some clients and make some money.
Yeah, for sure. Increase credibility, reduce sales pressure. Are you bringing the lead card in with you? Okay, that's number one. So many people on my team, simple tweak of they started bringing the lead card in with them. They invested into a printer, okay, and they started printing out lead cards. Even if it's the one that just says instant internet inquiry at the top, I sit down and I go, Julius, can you just go ahead and confirm for me that your name's spelled correctly, your date of birth's correct, your phone number is correct, your address is correct? Yep, that's correct. Perfect. It just brings a little bit of an extra level of credibility. So if you're not printing lead cards, whether they're a mail card or you're just a simple internet inquiry, you're doing yourself a disservice, because you can immediately sit down with them and you can just establish credibility and control by, does this all look correct? Okay. Really digging into, I don't dig crazy deep into their why. I find out their why, and then I ask clarifying questions. So I'm not the person who's necessarily like painting a picture of, okay, Julius, tell me exactly what it would look like for Susan if, the police department came home tomorrow with your bloody driver's license. Like, I don't go that deep into it, but I do sit down and go, okay, Julius, so can you tell me a little bit more about what you were looking for, why you requested life insurance? Now, he shares with me something that might either be everything that I'm looking for, or he's going to give me some half-ass answer that's like, I was just looking for quotes. I just wanted to make sure everything was taken care of. And now my job at this point is to ask clarifying questions. Okay, so my job is to ask clarifying questions to figure out why they filled it out. And once I figure out why they filled it out, this is a major key, learning to revoice back to them why they filled it out before you proceed.
So let's role play that. So yeah, okay. I just want to make sure everything's taken care of, Jamie.
Okay, got it. So most people, Julius, they usually fill these things out because they want to like leave some money behind for their family. They want to take care of final expenses, pay off debts. Which one of those was it for you?
Just pay off debts, and in case something happens to me, I want to make sure there's money to replace my income.
Okay, got it. And you're single, correct?
Yep.
Okay, but you do have some adult children?
No, not adult children.
Okay, so they're minors?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you got minor children, you're single, so you're divorced?
Yep.
Okay, got it. So if something happens to you, you just want to make sure that there's some money left behind for them?
Correct.
Okay, but if you've got debts that are happening, who's going to be the person that kind of steps up and takes care of those debts? Would it be your ex? Would it be like a sibling? Would it be your parents?
Probably be a sibling, but there aren't any real debts outside of my mortgage.
Okay, got it. So what, would it be like your brother or your sister?
My brother.
Your brother, okay. What's his name?
Larry.
Larry, okay. And is he local?
He is.
He's local, okay, got it. So you basically just want to make sure that if something happens to you, your mortgage is paid off, so Larry can take care of it. He can get the house sold. There's no debts left behind, but also you can leave some money behind for your minor children.
Correct.
Perfect. Okay. So that's how I would start there. And then at that point, once I pull that out of him, see, I've revoiced to him why we're doing this. And then at that point, I go, okay, perfect. So at this point, that's when I slide the credibility sheet in front of them and I start explaining who we are, what we do, and why we're there.
And so I do the exact same thing. And then one thing that I do there that I've added that's really helped is just a transition statement. Perfect. That's exactly why I'm here. My job is to help you with that. And so now they're like, oh, okay, you're not selling them. You're actually, I'm here to help you with that, right? So now they've put their guard down. So that way the sales pressure goes down and you've asked questions, you understand why you're there, and boom, okay, I'm going to help you with that.
Yep. And the other thing that I do right after that is to go, okay, so Julius, good news. I have no fancy sales presentation for you. And I just like pause and I let that sink in. Got no fancy presentation for you. I'm not the sales guy. I'm the underwriter. Sound fair? And they're always like, oh, thank goodness there's no sales presentation. And I just always say that at the beginning of every single appointment, no fancy presentation. And then I just real simply break down, here's what we're going to do today. I got no fancy sales presentation for you. I'm just the underwriter. But what I also am is I'm a broker and a non-captive agent. So at that point, I've got the credibility sheet in front of me. And it's just real simple. I'm a broker, meaning I can shop around for you. I'm non-captive. All of that means is I'm not loyal to any of these companies that you see here on the sheet. And I say, I don't even care who you end up going with. My job is just to help you figure out what's the best fit for you. And I'm going to point you in the direction of that company. So here's how this is going to work. At that point, I say 2 minutes of health and finance questions. Based on how you answer those questions, I'm going to make a recommendation for you. I'm going to show you 3 options. Should we see something that makes sense? I'm going to help you submit a request for coverage to see if you're actually eligible. So the biggest key that if I could challenge anybody to anything, it's not the middle of the appointment where you're learning to sell the benefits of the plan that you decide to put in place. It's a very strong open. If you can learn to get very smooth with that open and getting them to agree to the process and just highlighting what that process is, pulling the why out of them, revoicing it back to them, and getting them to agree to what the process is going to look like, you're going to have not very many objections towards the end.
Yeah, it's foreshadowing, right? You're basically telling them what to expect while you're there. and it puts their guard down. So they're not like, well, what's next and what's next, right? So you're just telling them what's about to happen. And when you have that presence and control, it just allows the appointment to go super smooth. So cool. All right. And then let's talk a little bit about your team growth, right? Obviously, your team's growing. You got a bunch of new people coming on. What would you share, or what have you shared with your team to get them to the point where they're growing and they're selling as much as they are selling? I think it was like last weekend or the weekend before, I think you did a challenge to get a bunch of people to 10K over the weekend. Talk to us a little bit about that and what's really helping your team sell at a high level.
Yeah. So we did a challenge where we said, if you didn't, so it was a voluntary challenge. So this wasn't something that went out to every single person on the team. It was anybody who just believed in their ability, not even their ability, but they believed in their willingness to run up the numbers, because that's all it really takes. You run up the numbers. I don't care if you suck. If you run 30 appointments over the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you will submit 10 grand if you go and you actually set solid appointments. So I had about 10 people who were willing to accept the challenge, and the challenge was a $10,000 weekend. And we had 8 of the 10 people hit 10,000 for the weekend, and the other 2 hit it for the week. So that was pretty cool, because the goal's really just to hit it for the week, but we wanted to set a new standard that it is possible on the weekends. And what's crazy is so we did that about 5 weeks ago. Okay. And just in me doing that for the team, I also obviously participated too. And I've had the biggest weekends that I've had since I started in Family First Life. I've written $10,000 or more every single weekend for the last 7 weeks in a row. And my average for the week has been anywhere between like 16 to 17 for every week for the last 6 or 7 weeks, which is just crazy. It's because we just stepped up the level at which we do everything. So for me, I'm leading from the front. I'm running up the numbers more than anybody else. I challenge the team to try to beat me. I challenge the team to dial longer than I will. I challenge the team to sacrifice more than I'll sacrifice. I got a wife who's very pregnant, and this is the last time that we're going to have this time together before we have kids. And it's very hard for me to not spend this time with her right now. But I understand what I'm doing and why I'm doing this for our future. So I have that in mind at all times, and I figure out what it is and why everybody in our business is really doing this. And I just understand the short-term sacrifice for the long-term gain is very important. Now, I also think it's very important to live a somewhat balanced life while you're building this business. When I say somewhat, because there's no such thing as balanced life. I had my wedding anniversary on Monday. So my version of balance is I took Monday off. I dialed on Tuesday to run Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I've got a birthing class on Saturday. So now I'm going to reflexible and change my schedule to make sure I still run the exact same days I'm supposed to run. Okay, so I don't change my activity, but I am willing to be flexible within my schedule. And I teach the team to do the exact same thing. If you have things to do, you have family things that are important, do them. Make them a priority. This is Family First Life. But if you have a goal, you need to be flexible with your schedule and change up what you're doing and still run up the exact same results. So I think making sure that we have brand new leads on every single dial day, making sure that all the top people, if they want to be a top person, they're participating in dial team, and, making sure that the newest people are calling in the home for their first 15 to 20 appointments. And it's basic stuff. I mean, it's like, this might not be the stuff y'all want to hear. Cause like, I know that like, maybe you think I got some crazy secret, but like, if you look at my business, it's not much different than most people's businesses. There's, of the 50 people who wrote a policy last month, 12 of them did over 50% of the volume. Okay. That's just how most of the businesses work. Most people won't do what's necessary in this business. They just won't. Some people will self-select. If you decide to self-select, you'll decide, I'm going to dial until the job is done. I'm not going to set these ambiguous standards of, I'm just going to dial until I have 12 appointments. My days could look totally different. A day with 12 appointments could mean I have six appointments back to back from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. That could be 6 appointments. And then I have a 5-hour gap at the end of the day that I didn't fill in. Another day could be I have an hour and a half between each of those things. So literally 6 appointments fills up my 8 a.m. to my 8 p.m. because of the drive time. So it's not about an appointment count for me. It's about filling in white space and teaching people how to fill in white space. So I think that's super important. So for me, I dial until the white space is gone. I don't dial until I hit a certain goal. And I teach my team to do the same thing.
And then if you have white space and you're on a run, if you weren't able to fill it on your dial day, you fill it on your run day. Am I right?
Correct. Yeah. So, I guess that's a good place we can go. So, I mean, what should you be doing between your appointments? If you do have white space, of course, I'm dialing to set more appointments. One of the things Jordan Lowry taught me early on is that if I have a Tuesday with a gap and there's a couple of gaps on Wednesday, I stop what I'm doing and I fill in those gaps for Wednesday. That's super important to make sure I hit my run goal. I'm listening to podcasts. I have drive time. It's really hard I can't personally run phone burner and drive at the same time. I don't recommend that. That's not for me. But if I have a gap where the appointments are close, I'm going to sit down in the parking lot and I'm going to dial. But if I'm not doing that, I'm either calling new agents, listening to podcasts, or calling a manager to get feedback from my last appointment, or just, like I said, recruiting agents and talking to new people. So if you're doing anything else between appointments, just to be completely honest, you're not being productive and you're not growing yourself. So you just have to get obsessed with learning and listening to the podcasts, the YouTube videos, even outside of this, in the non-productive hours, like the before 8 a.m. and the after 8 p.m. I've pretty much replaced all entertainment with absorbing more family first life knowledge and hearing stories of other people who have done it and stories of other people who have made it. And if I saturate my mind with success versus saturating my mind with my own excuses after I had a hard dial day, I just decided to go back to what I was doing before. If I saturate my mind with success, I lose all my excuses. So this kind of comes back to the whole idea of raising your belief. This kind of is cheesy, but if you raise your belief, you'll raise your results. Yeah. There's a thing that I learned. It's called the momentum cycle. Okay. The momentum cycle, it's belief, potential, action, results. Okay. And the momentum cycle, it can work for you. The momentum cycle, it can work against you. If I have a very high belief in myself, in this company, in this industry, I'm going to have very high potential energy that I'm actually going to take action. Okay. Belief leads to potential energy. If I have high potential energy, I'm going to take action. If I take action, it's going to lead to a result. So high potential energy, positive action, positive result. Positive result reinforces higher belief. So high belief, high potential, action, results. It also works the opposite way. If I have low belief in myself, low belief in the leads, low belief in whatever it is, there's very low potential energy that I'm actually going to do anything. Or when something hard comes up, I'm going to make an excuse. I'm going to take lack of action. I'm going to have lack of results. The lack of results are going to be less confidence in myself, in this business, in this industry. And my beliefs can go down and down and down. And I'm on my way out of this business. So does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense, brother. That was solid. I've never heard that before. So thank you. That was gold right there. Guys, if you guys got some value out of that, drop a 100 in the chat for Jamie. Jamie, I mean, this was so good, brother. Thank you so much for pouring into our team. I mean, your time, first off, thank you for your time, because obviously that's one thing we can never get back is time. So I appreciate you taking time out of your busy day with your family, with your business to help pour into us. We really greatly appreciate it.
I got one last thing I'd like to throw out here. I just pulled this up from a call I did with Trey the other day. I think this is important. So these are commitments to being a 20K a month producer. So if you want to be a 20K a month or more producer, here's some things that you can commit to.
Write this down, guys.
Some of these things are going to be simple, but some of these things aren't going to necessarily be simple to do. Okay. Because at the end of the day, it's simple to understand, but not everybody's going to do all of these things. So number one, this is very obvious, but commit to attending all the major calls, commit to attending all the major events. I go in and I block out my calendar ahead of time for the agency calls. You guys have this agency call probably every Thursday at the exact same time. We have the FFL America call every single Thursday at the same time. We have the Monday morning wake up call with Paul McLean at the exact same time. The Next Level Live at the same exact time. So I go in and I block out my schedule first with those things, and I build the rest of my schedule around those things. Okay, I fill in the white space around it. So I block out even things like major events, the national convention, and when I see sales conferences popping up in my cities, I make sure to block those things out as well. So I commit to attending all the major calls, and I commit to attending all the major events. Number two is I commit to buying leads every single dial day. Okay, I'm typically not the person who loves door knocking. That's just not me. I'll door knock if I need to. However, I personally believe that I can just continue to buy more leads because my ROI is so much better. ROI on my time versus ROI on my money. I can dial the leads hard, like as hard as possible. I can buy a batch of 100. I can dial them 3-4 dial days in a row and try to squeeze every single little bit of premium out of them. Okay. But let's say I buy 100, I book 16. Then I use that same, now I have 84 leads left that either told me no or didn't answer. So let's say now I've really only got like 60 who didn't answer, and I dial the crap out of those. Realistically, I'm probably going to book like 5 or 6 more. I'm probably not going to book 16 more out of those other ones. Now I can go door knock the crap out of those and I can resolve them, or I can just buy more leads. I can reinvest the money I already made, and I can buy leads every week, buy leads every single dial day. I'm obsessed with buying leads. Buying leads is a skill set. Not only do I buy leads for myself, I invest in leads in my team. If I told y'all how much I spent on leads for myself and my team this week, you might puke. It's like $8,000 this week on leads for myself and my team. Okay. So that's me matching other new people's lead orders and buying for myself. Okay. So I buy leads every single dial day, and I make sure that the people who are serious have leads for dial day. Do I buy leads for every single person on the team? No. But if there's somebody who has potential that wants to, is going to put in as much as they can possibly invest, I will put a little bit of extra leads on top for them because I see potential in them. So 20K producers commit to buying leads every single dial day, no matter what, or even just having new leads every single dial day. Top producers commit to dialing until the job is done. That means no matter how many appointments it is, it's dialing until the job is done. For me, the job is done means the white space is filled in. Top producers, they commit to filling the other spaces in their calendar with the door knocking, the learning, and the getting feedback. Top producers, they commit to go and see the families no matter what. Okay, this is a big one. Even if you're having a bad day, you go see every single family on the schedule. That's a big one. Okay, that is a huge one. I can't tell you how many times the last appointment of the day makes it all worth it. I can't tell you how many times I scrolled through the Facebook page and seen somebody that's like, oh my gosh, I had 8 no-show porch reschedules, but then my 9th appointment was like 4,000 AP, and it's happened to me so many times I can't even count. So you have to commit to seeing every single family on the schedule. And that also goes a different way as well. So I wrote 11,000 yesterday. Okay. So do you think I wanted to go to my last appointment that was an hour and a half away? No, that they ended up no showing me and canceling anyways. Okay. But at the end of the day, I made a commitment to myself that I was going to go and see every single family no matter what, because I can't tell you how many last appointment magic moments I've had. So I wasn't willing to risk missing out on the last appointment magic to go home, even though I had a great day. So whether you had a crappy day, go to your last appointment, or whether you had a great day, go to your last appointment. Okay. Commit to a positive mental attitude regardless of the circumstances. Sean says it all the time. Somebody else has gone through so much worse. You're driving around in your car in air conditioning. Hopefully most of y'all are driving around in air conditioning. If you're not driving around in air conditioning, that sucks. But if you're driving around in your car in air conditioning, listening to podcasts, and you got no-showed, like Sean would say it so much more brutally. He'd be like, there's other people who have stomach cancer. There's other people who, they're missing 2 arms and they're trying to live their life. There's people who have it much worse than you. So keeping that, some of our clients have it so much worse than us. Like I go sit down in the home and I'm so grateful that I'm young and healthy when I sit down with some of these clients. So having a positive mental attitude, because this business isn't easy. This business is hard, and you're going to crumble if you let your bad attitude get the best of you. If you let those thoughts stew, you will crumble. Next is, commit to be here a year from now. I made that post on the page yesterday. I wasn't expecting to get as many likes as it did. It's now like over 1,200 likes or something like that of what can happen in a year of being in this business. So you're going to have, in a year, if you think about it, you're going to run hundreds of appointments. If you actually commit to doing the activity, you will run hundreds of appointments. You will do tens of thousands of dials. And I can just about guarantee you, if you run hundreds of appointments, if you do tens of thousands of dials, you'll probably figure this business out. Everything that you're trying to figure out, everything that you're wondering about, can all be learned through repetition. So you'll figure out this business while making money along the way. You're not going to just not make money. This is a personal development program with the best pay plan I've ever seen. Okay, you get to go through the hard knocks, the family first life, becoming mentally tough. And even if you suck, you'll make $100,000 for the year. Even if you suck. That's crazy. So what if you just decide to run up the numbers and you make $300,000, $400,000, $500,000? It's crazy. So you'll make an income along the way. So much can change in a year. All it takes is one really good month, your breakout month, for your confidence to go through the roof. And we always say a mind once expanded cannot go back. So you're consistently a $15,000 a month producer, and then you have your first $50,000 month. I promise you're not going back to 15K a month anytime soon. And if you do, you're going to be so dissatisfied with yourself. So a mind once expanded cannot go back. You're 1 month away. 1 month away from changing everything. I don't care what situation you're in. You're 1 month away. So it's simple, guys. I'll leave you all with this. If you want to be a master, you got to master the basics. It's not that deep. Buy leads, call the leads, tell them you're coming over. But even though it's so simple, most people won't do it. Most people will give up before they can even ever find out how good they could be at this and how many families that they could have helped. So, I mean, thanks for having me, man.
Dude, preach, brother, preach. Thank you so much. That was so good. I cannot thank you enough, my man. That was awesome. I wrote it down. We got someone dropping it in the chat. We're definitely going to cut that up and put that on YouTube. So, hey, man, thank you so much for everything you've done and poured into us. Love seeing you at the top. Love seeing you thrive. And if there's anything I can do to ever repay you, please let me know. I will be there for you. Looks like Jamie dropped his number. If you guys need Jamie, give him a holler. He's just a wealth of knowledge and obviously willing to help anybody. With that said, guys, thank you so much for joining. Jamie, again, thank you so much. Let's go out there and crush it, guys. Let's make July a record month. And we'll see you guys in the Slack tomorrow.
Peace out, guys.